to our class today. I'm going to let all of you kind of roll in as we go ahead and get started here. And we are doing multi-cookers and Instant Pots today. So you might have a multi-cooker or an Instant Pot at home, and I would love for you to follow along with us. We're going to be doing 2 recipes today, and I'm going to assume that not all of you guys have 2 Instant Pots or multi-cookers, so you can decide which recipe works best for you, which one you'd like to try, and which one that you have the ingredients for. So I'm going to start with our chili, and then when that is pressurizing, then we will, or pressure cooking, we will start with our soup as well. So first things first, I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to get started. So as you guys roll in, wash your hands, get everything ready, and we'll be right back. I'm gonna wash my hands. Back. Hands are sanitized. We might have to do a couple of hand washing breaks today because we're going to be working with meat as well. But we're ready to go. So the first recipe, like I said, we're going to start with is our chili. We're going to be doing both, but the first one is going to be the chili, and then when this one is cooking, we'll start on that one. So first thing we need to do is prep all of our ingredients. I've prepped some of our ingredients, like I've drained our beans and things like that. And this recipe, it's chili, so it's really, really versatile. So if you don't have ground beef, you can use ground chicken, ground turkey, shredded chicken, anything like that. If you don't have a bell pepper, you can use jalapenos, you can use a green bell pepper, a red bell pepper, anything. Onion, same way. If you happen to not have a yellow onion, you could use any onion. I prefer yellow onion in my chili, but any onion would do. So I'm going to start by talking about how we cut our peppers. So I like to cut my peppers by cutting off the top and the bottom first. So I'm going to, first of all, this is how I hold my knife. I put this finger to this part of my knife, and then I pinch each side. This is a Wusthof Santoku, and I really like it, but any knife will do, any sort of like large chef knife, kitchen knife, and then we're going to chop off the top of our pepper. And this is great. I like to leave or keep all of my tops. You can just chop around this as well and make this into little bite-sized pieces as well, or you can leave it in a frozen container in your freezer and make stock with it, or something like that. So I really like just to keep my scraps as well. And then chop off the bottom, same thing with that. That guy will go in my scraps. And then I like to slice down one side of my pepper and slide in my knife, so that then my knife is kind of on the inside. And then I just cut around the seeds, and then I get a nice flat surface, so all of my seeds come out. If you really like spicy foods, or you like to keep the seeds, you could theoretically keep the seeds in, but I like to take out mine. And then now I can cut this in half, and I have 2 fairly large kind of rectangles of peppers, and now I can just chop them up. And then this way. As big or as small as you like. I am easy going on that front. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. If you're following along with me, and at any time I'm a little too fast, you just let me know, and I will slow down. kind of make what they call the claw with my hand and hold them all kind of together as I chop. And there we have a pepper. Again, any pepper will do. If you like spicy foods, if you want to do a different type of pepper, that will also work. Later on, I'm going to add some diced green chilies as well to kind of add some heat and some extra kind of pepper flavor. But for now, I'm just going to do the bell pepper. Next thing I'm going to do is chop up my onion. So this is the bottom with the roots. This is the top where all of those greens would be coming out. And I'm going to chop off the top of my onion and then cut my onion in half. Sometimes I cut off the root side as well. It's really dependent on what you like to do. This is something that I will keep for stock as well. And then you peel your onion. You can keep the root on or you don't have to. It's up to you. And I'm going to peel my onion. Wow, this is a really hard peel here today. There we go. And I'll say goodbye to all of those onion scraps. And my second onion I'm going to peel as well, or my second half. Okay, so now we have 2 onion halves with our root still on. Again, sometimes I chop off the root as well, the root tip. So the way I like to chop an onion is I start by doing cuts this way, but not going all the way to the root. Eventually, as you get better with chopping onions, you can go all the way through and you just hold it with your claw and it's fine. But for the beginning, when you're first starting, I like to go through almost all of the way and do cuts perpendicular to the floor, so that then you have this onion that has cuts like this almost all the way through. And then I flip my onion this way, and maybe depending on the size of the onion, might do a parallel slice or 2 this way. And then I will use my claw again and directly down. Again, perpendicular to the floor, but the other way. And then you get a nice diced onion. You want a medium dice on this onion, which is anywhere around like a half of an inch, or no, sorry, a third of an inch to a half of an inch in width. Okay, we're gonna do it again. So if you missed me the first time, or if you're catching up, we're going to do these nice perpendicular to the floor cuts lengthwise on the onion toward the root, and then maybe a couple of parallel to the floor cuts depending on the size of your onion, and then chopping like this. This is a pretty astringent onion, so if I were to cut this onion in half and realize how astringent it was, I might stick the halves in some cold ice water for a little bit and allow some of that kind of like astringent liquid to evaporate into that water, and it actually helps your onion be a little sweeter. So, but today we're going to do that. It's the one onion, depending on the size, you might want 2 smalls and how much you like onions, obviously. So that's it for the kind of ingredients I need to prep. We're now going to start talking about our actual machine here. So I've brought 2 machines today because I do want to talk about the differences. This is a machine, this multi-cooker is a Zavor. This is what we carry at Kelly's Home Center, and this is their newest model, and this is their LCD model. And the reason I like it is because it's really user-friendly, and it also shows the level of pressure you're at any given time, which is really helpful. So if you've never cooked in a pressure cooker before, I'd like to just kind of talk you through some points. This is the inside pot. Some come with a stainless steel, some come with a non-stick, depending on what you have. The non-stick is good because obviously it doesn't stick, but it does tend to hold smells. So if you cook chili in a non-stick pan or in a non-stick pressure cooker, it might smell like chili the next day when you go to make apple cobbler, which wouldn't be that great. Yes,
Judy Russell has a quick question. She wants to know the model number of that one.
I don't know what the model number is on this guy, but it is the Zavor Lux LCD multi-cooker. I'm not sure what its model is, but if you look up Zavor, Z-A-V-O-R LCD, it will pop up. And we do carry it in our store if you want to give our guys a call, and they'll have the model number for you. But what I really like about it is if I go to pressure cook, I can now have all of these different presets and then really easily manipulate what I'm doing, which is really, really great. So I'm going to start by using saute, the saute function. So, and each machine will have different names for that. Some machines say saute, some say brown, some say I don't know what else, simmer maybe, but basically all that means is the bottom element is heating up without trying to come to pressure. So we are just going to let that start warming up, and this particular machine will allow you to adjust the temperature of the bottom element. So if you want it to be 450 or 400 or etc., it will allow you to adjust that, which is really cool as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add bacon into my pot. You don't have to add bacon into your pot. This is an optional ingredient, but I kind of like bacon in my chili, so I'm going to do that. So bacon goes in first, and we're going to let that be the fat. The fat from both of our meats is going to be the fat today. So we're just going to get those cooking and crisp. I'm also using a pound of ground beef today. I'm going to let our bacon crisp up first, but you can use anything like I said earlier. While we're waiting for our bacon to crisp, let's talk about beans. So today our recipe calls for kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans. That's what I like, a variety of beans. But if you, in my chili, but if you like white beans, whatever, that's great too. I know that Lori Abbott out there, if you're listening to me, Lori, is using dried beans today, and going to just add some thyme onto the end. So anything that you have in your pantry would also work. Do you have any questions so far?
Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Lori Abbott said that she loves that the virtual class makes it super easy for you to see how you're chopping things and what you're doing
Lori.
on the counter. Sarah Kelly is saying that it's super awesome that you can adjust the temperature on the saute function.
Yeah. It's not just on or off like most of so we're going to be talking about this one as well. This one is an on and off situation. So it's just saute on or saute off. But this one is saute. Do you want it at 200 degrees? Do you want it at 400 degrees? It's really, really, really helpful. Yeah. And getting your pot hot before you try to pressure cook really shortens your pressure, your coming to pressure time. Generally speaking, if you've never cooked in a pressure cooker, it takes 10 to 15 minutes for it to get hot. sometimes even 20 minutes if something that you have in your pressure or in your pot is cold. But having everything hot when you add it, it decreases the time that it takes to come to pressure. So that's really helpful as well. And then we can kind of talk through mincing some garlic while we're waiting for our bacon to crisp up here. Sure. Yeah. My little Tiffany friend is going to get me some bowls for my vegetables here. So I like just to crack my garlic skin against the board with my knife. If you have a garlic twist at home, you can use a garlic twist. Those are our favorite. You can also, instead of mincing, use a microplane, which I have right here, I think. Yeah. So you could use one of these as well. And just run it along. Today we're going to actually mince with our knives, but any garlic tool will do for this guy. We just want it to be fairly small. If you like a lot of garlic, you can add more. And if you like big chunks of garlic, I know some people like chunkier chunks of garlic. You could actually just dice it up a little bit, but we are going to do some mincing. So I kind of like to, thanks Stephanie. We're working in a small space here. Okay, so I like to just do a couple of slices this way, make some planks, and then go back through and slice again. Almost like we did with our onion, but I hope you can see what I'm doing here. And then flip it this way, and then do kind of some cross cuts. And then once I get to this point, it's basically just hack at it for a little bit. So we just kind of do a couple of running chops here. And then clear. If I wanted to make a paste out of this, like a garlic paste, I could add some salt and rub it along my my board. But I'm just trying to get my garlic relatively small because we're going to be pressure cooking it, so it will eventually disintegrate in there as well anyway. Do you have any questions while I'm waiting, Tiff?
Not necessarily questions.
Okay.
Judy Russell is trying to decide if a multi-cooker is right for her, and she says, thank you for giving info on both pots.
Yeah.
Pots. But how does a multi-cooker and like a crock pot differ, and which one do you think is better?
I think that they're good for different things, to be completely honest with you guys. I still have a crock pot and I have a multi-cooker. I have both, and I like them for two different things. If I am going to be home all day and I want to set a big pot of chili in my crock pot, I really like the reduction that I get with my crock pot. I like that on the sides when I get home from the day, that there will be some crispiness around the edge. There will be a lot of reduction and a lot of depth of flavor that you don't necessarily get with the Instant Pot or the multi-cooker. But what I really like about the multi-cooker is that I can stick a roast in my multi-cooker and have it be done in 2 hours, which is just unheard of. So I like it for two very different things. If I'm in a hurry and I just know that like I want to serve somebody a roast in 2 hours, I can do that, which I wouldn't be able to do in my crock pot. But I also like that my crock pot, if I know that I want my house to smell like chili all day and I want it to be able to sit and stay warm and get really, 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 really deep flavors, I can do that too. So I keep both of mine, and I use them just for two different things. What I like about the Instant Pot or the multi-cooker is that it's super, super fast. Like I do frozen meats in my Instant Pot or my multi-cooker. You can have a chicken breast done in 15 minutes, which is just, you can't do anywhere else. So that's the difference for me. It kind of provides an extra layer of being able to be quick in the kitchen. And especially since I cook for a living and I cook at home, sometimes quick is what I need, and so I like it for that. Yeah, I cook everywhere, guys. Are we almost crisp there?
Yeah, we're getting pretty crisp here.
Okay, so we're going to take our bacon out of our Instant Pot or our multi-cooker, and then we're going to add our beef in, or I guess our onions and our peppers in, and then our beef. And that sauce, or that fat that all of that bacon rendered off, is going to be our fat for this. If you were doing a vegan chili, you would want to add fat. You know, you would add olive oil, ghee even, if you're cool with ghee. Or if you're trying to do a vegetarian version or something like that, you wouldn't have to use the bacon, but some sort of fat to saute your onions would be ideal. Okay, so we're just going to add in our onions and our peppers. And give them a little zhuzh around. And we're going to let them become translucent. Or at least our onions, our peppers probably won't, but we're going to let them soften a little bit. And then we will add our beef. Okay. Let me talk through a couple of other ingredients that we have here today. So I know that our recipe says paprika. I'm actually going to be using red chili flakes just to make it a little bit spicier. I kind of like the spicy chili. Whatever you have at home works. Diced tomatoes. If you had whole tomatoes, chop them up. If you had stewed tomatoes, those also work. Even if you didn't have any tomatoes and you had tomato sauce, you could do it. I am using chicken stock today. I actually kind of like chicken stock better than beef stock, but that is up to you. You could even use water if you didn't have any, bouillon, anything like that. That all works. I'm using tomato paste. A good thing right now in these times is tubes of tomato paste as well, so that you don't have to waste a whole can. So if you can find a tube of tomato paste and keep it in your fridge and just add a little bit at a time, that is really helpful as well. I'm using Himalayan pink salt today. That's what I keep in my house, but kosher salt works well too. Even sea salt and really any salt that you have is going to work, but my favorites are kosher and pink Himalayan. And I think that's it. So let's add our meat into our onions here. Our onions have started to change color a little bit. Gone from the bright white to starting to soften, and we're going to add a pound of ground beef and break that up. Depending on what the lean percentage of your beef is, you might have a little bit of extra fat. So once we are done with sauteing up or browning up our meat, we will check our fat levels and drain any excess grease if we feel it's necessary. I have a pretty lean pound of beef here, and if you are using something like chicken or turkey, you're probably not going to have any fat. But if you're using something like a fattier beef or maybe even a pork, you're going to need to drain some fat. So we will look at this, but I love how fast and easy this is. You don't need anything else, and it browns up pretty quickly and amazingly, so I love it. And this is definitely what I'm talking about as far as quick. If I was using a crock pot, I would have to brown my meat outside of the crock pot and then add it, and then saute my onions and everything like that, and then add it all into my crock pot and then wait several hours. And here I don't have to do that. So I really appreciate the convenience of a multi-cooker and what it offers us. But if I'm talking about just quality of the food that comes out, I really, really like a crock pot as well. It's kind of like the difference of a microwave and an oven. Although in comparison, the multi-cooker does a lot better than a microwave compared to an oven. You think like, okay, am I going to wait, 30 minutes for this vegetable to be warmed up in the oven, or am I going to wait 30 seconds for it to be in the microwave? But you lose a lot of quality in that scenario. This is like, am I going to wait 8 hours for chili in my crock pot, or am I going to wait 20 minutes for chili in my Instant Pot? And the quality difference is not that big that I would waste, or that I would wait an extra 7.5 hours for chili in my crock pot unless I'm at home all day. So it's not like, oh, it's okay, it's not that great, I guess I'll save me the 7.5 hours. It's like, no, this is actually pretty decent, and I'm so glad that I didn't wait 7.5 hours for a little bit better. So yeah. And another thing, if you're looking for a reduction afterwards, you can flip it back to saute and let it reduce again. So that's helpful. Yeah, I'm gonna check on our beef here, and we're looking pretty brown. Let me look here. We're just about ready. Do you have any questions, Tiffany?
Karen Canary
Okay.
has a really good tip for tomato paste when
Okay,
you're talking
I'm
about
ready.
it. She says, I take the remainder of my tomato paste, drop it in the dollops on wax paper, and freeze it. Then I section paper into large sandwich bags in the freezer and pull out as needed. No need for tomato paste in a tube if you can break down to serving size and freeze, and it can go straight from the freezer into cooking.
I love that, Karen. I love that.
That.
That is super, super, super awesome. I love that.
I would just be wasting tomato paste.
It's true. It's true. And I like to do that as well with like cookie dough, things like that. Dropping it into balls, sticking it into the freezer, and then if you just want 6 cookies, if someone happens to be coming over and you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to serve them, and then you can just pull out 6 cookies and stick them into the oven. So I love that, but I've never thought of it for tomato paste. Great job, Karen. I love that.
That's great.
I love that.
I love that.
Okay, so I'm going to drain off some of my fat in the Instant Pot or the multi-cooker here. So I'm going to grab my little thing. At the store, we have cute little silicone grabbers. I'm at home right now, so I'm going to use a towel. But if you can get your hands on some grabbers, do that.
I love the silicone grabbers that we sell.
They are so helpful. Definitely better than a towel here, but that's okay. I'm going to just drain off some fat and try not to get all of it in my bowl. There we go.
Lori says she does pesto the same way that Karen does her tomato.
Oh!
Look at
Lori's been holding out on me this whole time.
yeah, geez, Lori.
Come on, Lori. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so everything is going back in. You're actually going to hear the difference. If you're really listening to this video or at home, you can hear the difference when there's no more water content in your meat, when you're like making tacos, and it goes from like bubble, bubble, bubble to tss. That means that there's only fat left and there's no more water content, which kind of tells you when your meat is done, which is really cool. Okay, so everything is going to go into our pot now. So let's get real close and personal and talk about everything that's going back in. So, first things first, bacon's going back in. We have drained pinto beans. My thing got a little messed up when I was sanitizing my cans. So we have drained pinto beans, drained kidney beans, drained black beans. Not wanting to come out very well. Okay, there we go. Drained black beans. We have a full can of diced tomatoes with the juice. We have 6 ounces of tomato paste. Make sure you check your tomato paste. Sometimes they'll sell you a smaller one, but it's double concentrated. So don't use double concentrated, 6 ounces of double concentrated. Only use 3 ounces of double concentrated if that's something that you got. We are going to do some chicken stock, 2 cups of that, or Cleora's eyeball, whatever she's eyeballing that day. We have a small batch or a small can of diced green chilies. I like extra chili action. If you don't, leave it out. And we have some cumin, lots of chili powder here, red pepper flakes in, and then we have some oregano that's going in as well, and salt. Lots of salt. We will try this afterwards and make sure we got enough. And some freshly cracked black pepper. And that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to give that a little stir. Say goodbye to my spoon because it did touch our meat. And I'm going to set our lid on top. If I had it the right way, it would be super helpful. Okay. I'm going to make sure that my vent is down. If your vent is up, it will not pressurize. So we're going to make sure it's down. And then we are going to pressure cook. I'm going to go back, pressure cook, high for 20 minutes. And what's so cool about this machine is it tells me that I'm already over 75% pressure cooked. So there we go. It's yelling at me that my lid's not on right, so there we go.
Jocelyn says that they've had their multi-cooker for a year and haven't taken the time to use it, so thank you for getting them.
You're welcome, Jocelyn. We are super excited to have you use your pressure cooker again, or for the first time. Alrighty, so next we're going to start with our second.
Sure.
Oh, you know what? I have some garlic here. That guy needs to go in. Good thing we didn't.
Lori has a question. She says, since I'm using dried beans, would I use the amount of liquid they say to use if I'm just cooking the beans by themselves, or would that make the chili too watery?
I would say a little extra. What are you asking? How many cups of liquid you should use? So I would say we're using 2 cups. I would say at least 4 cups, Lori. And if it's too watery, then we can just reduce it afterwards.
There you go. It's yelling at you.
It's yelling at me. I don't know why it's yelling at me, but we're going to figure it out.
Is that little teeny tiny piece that you always talk about messed up?
No.
What?
All right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch lids here. Little behind the scenes action. We're going to switch our lids and see if that tells me to. Okay.
All right.
Well, it's saying it's pressure cooking, so I'm going to believe it. I don't know why it's beeping at me, but we're going to believe it. We'll take this little guy off, and we'll let him do his thing.
Cook away while we move on.
Okay. So next, we are going to start on our soup. So has everyone who just did the chili have theirs all ready to go? Is it like in your Instant Pot? Is it starting to pressurize away? Let me know. And if you have a favorite Instant Pot recipe or multi-cooker recipe, let me know that as well. I'd like to know.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to cook?
What's your favorite thing to cook in general? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't have a favorite recipe
Your
in
go-to, got home late for work.
Yeah.
Need dinner in 30 minutes.
Or what have you been cooking in quarantine? I would love to know.
Yeah, me too.
This is us as well.
I'm running out of ideas here.
Please tell us in the comments down below. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep for our soup. So our soup is going to be really fun. I wanted to do something that wasn't totally, kind of everyday, ordinary, but something that everyone might have. And if you don't have tortellini, you could use regular pasta. I'm just using dried tortellini. You could reduce the time and use frozen, actually. You could do that very easily, but we're going to use some dried tortellini today, and I'm going to use some chicken sausage. We talked about swapping out ingredients. You could use any sort of ingredients that you like. If you had ground beef again, ground chicken, anything like that, that would also work. And I am going to swap out that knife and chop up some of this chicken sausage. This is a sun-dried tomato and basil chicken sausage, and I'm just going to chop it up a little bit and get some delicious chickeny bits into our soup today.
Judy Russell says, I'm interested in cooking rice.
Yes.
I've always had problems with rice. Does this method of cooking work well for that?
Yeah, we like rice in the Instant Pot or the multi-cooker. We really do. It's fairly easy, fairly fast. I've heard some people say that it doesn't allow for checking on your rice. I don't know if you're a rice checker. You're really not supposed to be, but people will lift their lid and see how their rice is doing. It doesn't allow for that, so I know some people don't like it for that, but I think that it does it pretty well. And I think that if you're someone that struggles with rice, it can really help with the kind of intimidation factor, because you just set it and forget it, which is really helpful. So I'm just going to chop up some of this chicken sausage, just quartering my sausages and then cutting them up. But if you had little meatballs or shredded chicken or anything like that, that would also work here. And we are going to put chicken and onion into our pot to start simmering.
Maddie Knapp says, loved your beef. I don't know how to say this. Bourguignon class.
Yeah, beef bourguignon. Yeah.
Bourguignon. Yeah, there you go. Made it at home and it turned out great. Yay!
Oh, thanks, Maddie. Appreciate that. That's one of my favorite recipes to do. That is an all-day cook for sure. But you could probably find I'm sure they have an Instant multi-cooker version of that, and you could save yourself some time. It is a really fun recipe for sure, and it's also fun to say, which is kind of funny. Okay.
Maddie also says, some may say that the flavors blend so much that it's not always good for a lot of dishes. What do you think?
That can be, that's a criticism that I would say is possible. If you really overcook a lot of your things, it might end up turning into one big tomato sauce flavored situation. Yeah. But I also think that it does a really good job of penetrating things like a roast. If you are used to just being like, my roast inside is really dry or it's not very flavorful, pressure cooking really does help get the flavor and the moisture really into the center of the meat. So that's helpful. I can see both sides of that argument, but again, it's better judgment and what you think. If you really love the delicate flavors of a pasta dish, maybe we don't put it in the multi-cooker. But if you love that, you know, your spaghetti sauce is really rich in flavor and you want every part of your, all of the vegetables that you're adding to your spaghetti sauce to be flavored, then maybe that's the recipe that you do add in your multi-cooker or your InstaPot. So I think it's just based on personal preference. Anything else, my dear? No one else? Is everyone taking pictures of their food? Make sure you take a picture of your food. If you take a picture and you send it to us, we will enter you into a drawing. So if you're cooking along with us, make sure you send us a picture.
Yeah, tag us.
Talking to you, Lori Abbott.
Yeah, Lori.
She's probably thinking that I pick on her too much. Okay, so I'm going to chop up some of our garlic here. You don't need it to be super fine again, but we're going to just do a quick little super fine dice or brunoise, which is basically a super fine dice on our garlic here. Once we get it all peeled, that's the worst part about doing garlic, is getting it peeled.
So Cleora, what's like your go-to recipe?
What do you mean? Like if I'm just home?
Yeah.
Oh, gracious.
Like what's the recipe you make the most that's just so easy?
I'd say I do a lot of bowls. I know that's kind of sounds weird, but if I have any sort of grain, so if I have leftover quinoa, leftover rice, leftover couscous, anything like that, and then if I have any protein, so chicken, beef, pork, anything like that, then I can make a bowl out of it. Either I can put some soy sauce and some broccoli and some carrots and all of that and make a little stir fry and put it over rice, or I can do kind of like add some salsa and some onions and some things like that to my meat, and we'll do lettuce and onions and lime and have kind of a Mexican bowl. So I do that a lot with just whatever I have. Spaghetti is always super easy. I love to do tacos. Tacos are my favorite. I love to do tacos in my multi-cooker because I can add stew meat to my multi-cooker and cook it super fast. And I just add some chipotle peppers, some onions, and some tomatoes, maybe a little salsa to my multi-cooker. And then I just let it cook for maybe 20 minutes with some stew meat, and then I can shred it up and put it in a taco, and it's amazing. So that's super fast. All I have to do is make my tortillas or fry up my tortillas and then set my InstaPot to go. So I love that. Yeah, what do you do, Tiffany? What's your favorite?
Oh, probably spaghetti. I love spaghetti. My dad makes really, really good spaghetti.
Okay.
And every single time I try to make it, it just never turns out like his, and it makes me so sad. It makes me so sad. So shout out to my dad for being the best spaghetti maker.
Shout out, Dad.
Other than that, my boyfriend loves tacos, so I'm constantly making tacos or stir fry.
I love a good taco situation.
Yeah. Or pizza. We buy a lot of frozen pizzas and we just throw everything out there.
You know what? There's no shame in that game, Tiffany.
Yeah, pizza's always a good
You're a working woman. Okay. Let's go over to this model and we'll talk about that. So this one's a lot simpler. You have a pressure cook, a slow cook, a brown, a saute, a steam, keep warm. Generally, most of multi-cookers will keep warm for about 12 hours. So that's good. And you can kind of like let it hang out and naturally release. And add a tablespoon of olive oil in. And this is This is a non-stick version of the same pot. So it's up to you on what you like. We're gonna add our chicken and our onion, and we're going to set it to saute 30 minutes. It doesn't matter if it says 10 minutes, 15, 40. We're gonna end up canceling it anyway. So 30 minutes is their preset. So we're gonna do that. And we are going to saute all of our chicken and our onion up. We're going to put some salt on it as well.
Do you want me to grab it?
I can grab it. I'll grab some.
Lori
some
says
salt.
she does taco bowls because she's too lazy to make tortillas.
I love it, Lori.
I feel you, Lori.
I feel you. What I love about tortillas is I just have a big thing of maseca in my thing, and I never have to worry about, do I have tortillas? Do I not have tortillas? I just know that I have massive, it's like basically having a massive bag of flour, and I'm like, I don't need to care if I have tortillas or not because I have a bag of them and I can always make them, which I guess is a very privileged stance, but that's definitely how I feel on that guy.
Yeah,
Add
totally.
some salt into our, this is my, so fancy, so fancy.
Right. Sierra Johnson says she loves garlic, but not necessarily the smell that lingers with garlic. I feel ya.
I hear you, Sierra. Or possibly Marco. If that's Marco, it's commenting on Sierra's account. Hi, Marco. How are you?
What's your favorite way to remedy that, or any tricks you have?
Well, I don't mind the smell of garlic, so I'm sorry. What's my favorite trick? Well, yeah, if you use a garlic twist, it doesn't even,
You don't get the smell.
You don't get the smell. It stays in the garlic twist.
Yeah.
So you just twist it up and you set it off to the side and then you pour it out and then you shut the garlic twist and you never have to smell it. That's my tip. Boom.
Get a garlic twist.
If you're curious about what a garlic twist is, Sierra Johnson, possibly Marco, Google it because you're not here in Salem.
We sell them at Kelly's.
We sell them at
should have
Kelly's.
brought one from the Kelly's kitchen.
We should have. I should
Dang
have
it.
stolen one from the kitchen and done it here. But that is it. And we sell them at Kelly's and they're amazing. And they're one of our absolutely favorite things. I'm going to check on our chili while this is sauteing up. If you want to get them a little close up of our stuff, and I'll check on our multi-cooker over here.
Ooh, man, these onions are so powerful, they're burning my eyes, and I'm not even cutting them. I don't know how you're not crying, Cleora.
It was touch and go there for a minute.
Oh my goodness. Cleora always tells me to stick my head in the freezer if the onions are getting too much for my eyes, and I am not ashamed to say that I have done it on occasion.
It's so true. So that's a tip of mine. If you are crying from your chili or if you're crying from your onions, stick your head in the freezer. I know that sounds crazy, or you can wear goggles, or
Yeah.
some people say put a match in between your teeth, but I just stick my head in the freezer if it gets too much for me. It generally doesn't, but sometimes it does. So I'm gonna just open our little thing of tortellini. These are miniature cheese tortellinis. Any tortellini will do. And we're going to add them to our chicken here in a second. Also, there's some frozen veg. Any frozen veg that you have. Leafy and green would be great, or even fresh veg, but if you're doing fresh vegetable, if you're doing like fresh kale or something, I would suggest adding it at the end. So if you're doing fresh kale, fresh spinach, fresh arugula, something like that, add it to the end. But if you're doing frozen, like a frozen vegetable of some kind, we can add it to our actual cooking process here. And I'm doing broccoli. I searched the stores high and low for some spinach and I couldn't find it, so broccoli is going to be our backup here. But anything that you have, even if that's green beans, even if that's a bunch of peas and corn, that will also do. So just load up on your vegetables that way. And we're using some tomato paste. Thanks, Karen, for the tip. I will keep that tip in mind. And then again, chicken broth. So we have a little bit of sugar as well. Alrighty. So I'm going to add in the rest of our ingredients here. I don't know if you can see me. Let me make sure you can. Am I over here? Hello? Okay. So we're going to get that kind of sauteed up, get a little bit of color on there. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. About 1.5 cups of tortellini, which is about a package, almost a package. Then we're going to do 4 cups of chicken stock.
Or Cleora's eyeball.
Or whatever Cleora decided 4 cups looked like today. And then we are going to do some of our frozen vegetables here. About 8 ounces or so. About 1 cup. Or whatever you think that you want. That'll work. Some oregano and thyme in. And then some tomato paste. Would you be able to hand me that? Thank you. Tomato paste in. And again, this is something that if you only have diced tomatoes or only have tomato sauce or something like that, you could absolutely use that instead. It'd be a little bit different, but that's okay. A little bit of sugar is going to go in. And then we're going to add some salt and pepper, and that's going to be our soup. Once we get, once we pop the top on this guy, it is going to look drastically different than what we put in, but it's going to be amazing. And then we'll add our cream at the end. I think I need a little bit more liquid here. Want to make sure that my tortellinis have lots of liquid to soak up. Okay, and we're going to add our top on, and we're going to set this for 4 minutes on high. Oh, and our garlic again, guys.
Oh dang, always forgetting the garlic, Cleora.
Yeah, right on my cutting board. Okay. And this is a lot of garlic, so if you're not a fan of garlic, look at you, Sierra Johnson. Only use a little bit. Or use garlic powder. Do you have garlic powder? Garlic powder works. I'm going to give my hands a rinse, and then I'm going to grab our lid.
Sure. Jocelyn asked, could you use fresh pasta instead of dried pasta, or could you use a cheese-filled tortellini?
Absolutely. We're using a cheese-filled tortellini today, and fresh pasta would work. I would actually suggest, if you're going to use a fresh pasta, I'm going to turn you this way a little bit. If you're going to use a fresh pasta, you would need a little bit less time, or you could actually do everything without the pasta and then add your pasta afterwards on the saute function and just let it boil for an extra 3 or 4 minutes if you've made fresh pasta that day. Because if you made fresh pasta that day, it's only going to take 40 seconds or so to cook, and you don't want to cook it for 4 minutes while you're cooking the rest of your ingredients and letting all of those kind of flavors meld. So I'm going to stop on our saute. We're going to go to pressure cook high, and we're going to go to 4 minutes and start. I'm going to make sure my top is sealed, and we're going to let that completely come to temperature, and in 4 minutes we will let it release for, or naturally release for about 3 minutes, and then we will be ready to go. In the meantime, while we're waiting for our chili to finish and our soup to finish, we can talk any questions that you might have regarding multi-cookers or Instant Pots or anything else. If you have any other questions that that have nothing to do with multi-cookers or Instant Pots, I can answer those too.
Kay Francis says, I bought a garlic twist after your last class, and now he or she has a total of 5 different ways to prepare garlic besides using a knife. Maybe I need to open a display for my garlic tool.
I love it. I love it. You know what? Some people just, it's one of those things that some people just detest chopping garlic. I actually don't mind it, but some people hate it. What is the thing that everyone else seems not to mind that you hate? Like everybody else, what else? Everybody else seems to not mind having tomatoes. You know, everyone else is like, oh, just have the tomatoes, whatever. I think it's mindless to have an entire pound of tomatoes. It's the thing that I don't like to do, that everyone else seems to be, oh, that's fine, you don't mind it. So what is your thing? What is your thing that you're like, everybody else seems like it's totally fine to chop garlic, but I absolutely hate it. Or everybody else seems like it's totally cool to chop an onion, but I buy my onion chopped, or whatever. Tell us in the comments down below.
I hate slicing mushrooms.
Slicing mushrooms! I make you do that a lot.
Yeah. Or actually peeling potatoes.
Peeling potatoes, yep.
Which you also make me do a lot.
All the time. All the time. I am telling Tiffany we need to peel 15 pounds of potatoes.
Yeah.
And she's like,
great.
thanks,
I always do with a
Cleora.
smile though.
All right. Does anyone tell us there?
Lori says that your sign says fresh pies daily, so when can she come get one?
Right now, Lori.
Come over, Lori.
In quarantine, I'll make a pie for you, Lori.
Jocelyn's very excited because she has a full package of Costco fresh tortellinis and she is ready to use them. She loves them.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Jocelyn. That's awesome. Yeah, in our quarantine times, desperate times call for desperate measures, aka massive things of tortellini from Costco.
Lori says she doesn't like to seed and juice tomatoes.
Okay, yes.
That's fair. I've never understood juicing. I've seen commercials for like juicers, and I'm like,
Yes.
why?
Why? Why would you do this to us? I love it. Okay, let's check our chili, and we'll come over and we'll plate it up.
It's back and better than
It's
ever.
back and better than ever, guys. Okay, so I stopped it. We're gonna release some pressure here, maybe. Okay,
A little bit.
a little pressure here, and here she is.
Ooh, bubbling away.
There she is, guys.
Very yummy. I'm so excited.
And here's our chili. We're gonna plate her all up, and add some tops to it. Now it's beeping at us again. Really doesn't like us today. Okay.
It really does not.
We're gonna plate up our chili. And what's great about this chili is it can be reheated all the time. And it's the perfect thing to make a big batch of and then stick in your freezer and take out whenever you need a little bit of chili. I did that the other day with some taco soup. And I froze it in tiny little batches. And then when I want some, I can take it out. Actually, Joan Gosling, if you're listening, Joan Gosling, hi, how are ya? She is our manager at the kitchen store at Kelly's. And she actually, freezes her soups in muffin tins, in silicone muffin tins, the big ones. And then she takes out a tiny bit of soup each time she needs it. And she has a cup of soup already waiting for her. Isn't that the smartest idea you've ever heard in your life?
Jeez, I would have never freaking thought of that.
It's so smart. So yes, I do a little bit of soup all the time. This is the perfect thing on a day like today when it's raining
It was like sunny
and dreary. You can do a nice big pot and then freeze into individual things.
Lori says, cooking at the same time, it's like smell vision.
I love it.
Sarah
Okay.
Johnson says, yum, I'm sure your kitchen smells delicious, and I'm here to vouch, it does smell so yummy.
It does. And I'm adding some chives from my garden. So chives are going in. And so that's our That's our chili here. I'm gonna wipe off our little bit of a drippage here. So that's our chili. Looking great. Tiffany can taste it for us. Let us know how we're doing. It's probably really, really warm right now, but she's gonna do it anyway. Come and tell the people. If you're not cooking with us, or if you're cooking that one, and you're wondering how this one tastes, Tiffany's here to tell you.
That's really funny because Cleora is her worst critic. Yep.
I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah, and I'm always like, everything you make is so yummy, and she's always like, it's okay. It was okay.
Yeah, I never give myself a compliment on these things. Is it good?
That was super yummy.
Good. All right.
I'm gonna take this with me behind the scenes.
If you hear someone slurping
yeah, if you hear
behind the camera, you'll know who it was.
Everybody will know it's me.
Okay, I love it. And it looks like our tortellini soup is almost done as well. It's starting to come to pressure. You'll see all the steam coming up, and eventually it will come to pressure and it will be cooking for the next 4 minutes. Do you have any comments that we need to attend to, Tiff?
Marty Nat says, wow, it looks so good. Kay says her husband buys green onions at Smart Food, and they also sell to restaurants, which is super cool.
I love it. Does everyone know that if you get a pack of green onions, say you get a bunch of green onions at the store, you use them down to like the white part, you can keep the white part in a mason jar in your kitchen, and they will grow again.
Wow, you never have to buy green onions.
Never have to buy them again. Just buy them once, and you'll never have to buy them again. I love that. I love that tip. Okay.
That is awesome.
That is
My mom makes
awesome.
really super yummy tortellini in the
Yes.
crock pot, not a multi-cooker.
okay.
And I
Well,
want.
she needs to get on it, Tiffany.
I know. I've been trying
Join the
to tell
land of
her.
the living here, people.
I'm like, Mom, you should buy a multi-cooker, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And she's like, I have a crock pot. It's better.
No, well, here's the thing. I like both. I really, really do. So while we have some minutes here, we can talk about some other things. So tomorrow, we are doing a junior cooking class, actually. We're going to have littles, little ones cooking tomorrow. Bonnie and her grandchildren are going to be cooking a pancake cake, which is going to be super, super cool. A rainbow pancake cake. And then on Thursday, we are going to be having a kids class at noon. Here, I'm making homemade soft pretzels with the kids. And then on Friday, we're going to be doing another adults class. So be back here.
Hope Fredrickson
Yeah.
says, what is the amount of chicken broth on chili? How much chicken broth?
It's 2 cups. But if you're using dried beans, you might need a little bit more.
Okay.
Did you guys hear the difference in that pressure cooker? It was like shh, and then it went, whoop. That means it's now pressurized. So we're counting down 4 minutes right now to our awesome, awesome, awesome tortellini soup. And Jackie, I think it's Jackie. Was it Jackie? No, Jocelyn. I want to see your tortellini.
Yes.
I want to see your whole tortellini soup situation, and possibly Sierra Johnson or Marco, whoever's going to be making chili tonight. I want to see yours too. Okay, yeah. So we have classes all this week. And of course we're open, our actual store is open, so if you need a garlic twist, we are there. You can go down and get a garlic twist if you feel like you can't handle the smell of garlic. You can go down and get one if you need one, or call and order over the phone and you can pick it up. Yeah, and you can like and share and tell everybody else to come and hang out with us on Friday for another adult class, because that class is going to be super duper fun. Promise, promise, promise. Check our Instagram and our Facebook for details on that guy. Okay, so we are just waiting for our tortellini to be done here. Do we have any other questions as far as our Instant Pot? Or do we have any other tips that you would like to give me in case I don't know the cool tips about you putting your stuff in the freezer?
Everybody has amazing tips.
Everybody has a tip that they don't want to share with me. What's
Yeah, Karen's saying, why don't they make a smaller version? They seem to take up so much space on the counter and storing. And then Kay said that she has a 3-quart and loves it. So I know there's many different sizes of these.
Yes.
So what do you recommend for like a family of 4 or a family of 6?
Yeah, here's the thing. Kay has a 3-quart and loves it. I don't know, Kay, are you cooking for 1 to 2 people? Let us know. So if you're only cooking for one person, I think a 3-quart would be fine. The problem is that with the pot, the actual vessel, you can only fill it 3 or 2/3 full. And so if you have a 3-quart, you can only do 2 quarts of something. So if you're wanting to make a big batch of soup, you can't do all 3 quarts. You can't make 3 quarts of soup. You can only make 2 quarts of soup because you can only fill it 2/3 full. And you can't do a big roast or something like that because it can only be 2 quarts high, if that makes any sense. So if you have a big family, I would always say go higher than you think. I have a 6-quart and I love my 6-quart. And these are both 6 quarts. But I will say you are right in the sense that the smaller ones, even the 3-quart, takes a lot of space. It's not just like a tiny little pot that you can pull out. It's not very squat. This type of handle really makes it hard to fit into kind of cupboards and things like that. So I will say that's hard, but I would say go bigger if you're thinking about making a roast or something.
Okay, Joan Gosling has a tip for us. She says it's nice to have a second insert if you want to cook 2 things in one night.
That's exactly right. So yes. So we do sell them. So funny story, they used to only do these ceramic inserts, and so everyone asked us for stainless steel inserts because no one had them, and so we bought a ton of them, and then they started coming out with only stainless steel inserts. Funny. So we had a ton for a long time, and we've kind of we sold off that supply, but we're getting more in, I do believe. Joan can tell me in the comments. But yes, having 2 inserts is so awesome because you can do your rice and then have your like chili or chicken or whatever in the next pot. Do your rice, take it out, put your chicken in, close it, and have both meals going. Or doing one meal and then doing your dessert. You can do cobblers, you can do creme brulee, you can do a million other things. And so you don't necessarily even have to have 2 of these machines. You can have 2 pots and do double the work, which is super cool. I love it.
All right. Lisa Phillips says, do you make no-bake peanut butter ball cookies with oats, honey, vanilla, salt, mini cocoa chips, or M&Ms? And if so, do you add ground flax seeds?
I don't normally do that exact recipe. I do no-bake cookies, but you can absolutely do ground flax seeds. That would be, absolutely. You would just want to add maybe a little bit more of your wet ingredient. It might get a little dry if you're doing a ton of oats and ground flax seed, but yeah, absolutely. Throw in ground flax seed whenever you can. I love that.
D Knapp says, on my way to get an InstaPot.
Okay, awesome, D. Dee is actually planning on doing a cooking class for us. She does cakes. If you're curious on her super awesome cakes, you should go to her Instagram, Delightful Cakes. It's the best. So you can see that. And if Jean is in these comments as well, you should check out Whisk & Company. She might be here in our comment section, and she's really awesome too. So Whisk & Company and Delightful Cakes, go check them out because they're doing some really cool stuff during our quarantine time.
Yeah, sure. Joan says, hopefully soon,
Yay.
Sabor has finally come out with new accessories.
Oh, awesome.
Yay.
Okay, yes, so we have, if you guys are curious about doing things in multi-cookers, one of the best things that you can do in a multi-cooker is hard-boiled eggs. I love doing hard-boiled eggs. And they do the 5-5-5 method. So 5 minutes of pressurized cooking, 5 minutes of natural release, 5 minutes in an ice bath. So you put your eggs in, and then you put some water in as well. Set it for 5 minutes, and then when it's done, it starts beeping at you. Let it sit for 5 minutes, and then let it release the pressure, then put them in an ice bath for 5 minutes. They are the best. And we sell little egg holders as well. We sell tiny little bundt cakes that you can make inside your multi-cooker, little things for cheesecakes, and all of those little grabbies that we were talking about earlier. Amazing. And so if you're curious, go check our little area for all of our accessories.
This little guy's beeping away at us.
Beeping away. So what's cool about it is it automatically goes to 12 hours because it's going to start keeping it warm for 12 hours. And so what I like about it is that it automatically goes down by minutes. So I can tell you that it's been sitting here for a minute. But the problem is, especially with this machine, is it beeps at you the entire time. So if you were having it warmed for, 12 hours, it would beep every 5 seconds for 12 hours, which is a little bit obnoxious. So I end up pushing stop or clear on my machine because I just don't like to listen to that beeping, even if it's only for the 5 minutes that I need it to stay warm for. So I often will turn it off, but we have 2 minutes and we really are only going to let it naturally release for 3. I like to take a kitchen towel. If you see in the background, this is my kitchen. So I have the glass front cabinets and I get steam all over them. And generally I have my InstaPot or my multi cooker in that corner. So I generally put a towel over my little vent release so that it kind of dissipates all of that steam. So once it turns to 11:57, I will push my vent open and I will let that towel contain a little bit of that steam. So yeah, we're just gonna wait for it to go to 11:57 and we will be able to flip our vent open. Are you guys all on the same page with me? Do we have you guys all ready and cooking? Actually, it's 57, so I'm gonna flip that. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, no. Lori's just saying that it makes great egg bites. And you can keep them in the freezer for quick on-the-go breakfast.
I love that.
I have never understood cold, hard-boiled eggs. They're so gross and slimy, and
What?
I don't know why people love them.
I love cold hard-boiled eggs. Tiffany's out of the club now, guys.
Well,
okay.
I don't mind them in potato salad or
Sure.
like a whatever, but I don't want to just eat an entire cold hard-boiled egg. It's so weird to me. It always has been.
Okay, so I'm going to add a cup of heavy cream once we have this. If you don't have heavy cream, you can use a million other things. Cream cheese will do. Cream cheese with a little bit of milk. Cream cheese with a little bit of water. That'll work. Whipping cream, half and half. Even a little bit of milk will do. Just make sure it doesn't boil once you put the milk in. Milk tends to separate when it boils because there's not enough fat in it. So just make sure that if you're using milk that you're not letting it boil after you add the milk. Okay.
Yeah, Judy Russell wants to know if the Zavor also beeps like that when it's keeping warm.
It does for the first, I think, few minutes, and then it stops after the 12 hours. It stops during the 12 hours, but for the first little bit, it beeps at you, and it's very annoying. So that's why I push stop. And if I need to know that I'm going to let it naturally release for 20 minutes, I'll just set a timer myself because I don't like to listen to that beeping.
Nobody likes to
On this machine in particular. This machine over here, the LCD does not beep.
Yeah, that's what you were asking about.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So the Zavor doesn't beep at all. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's the same
You're
company.
welcome, Judy. She says thank you. You're welcome.
It's the same company technically, but we can talk about that too. But let me grab a spoon here.
Oh, is it ready?
Yay. We're gonna add our heavy cream, but this is our soup. We're gonna add a little bit of heavy cream, about a cup or so. And yum. We both said it. And yum. Okay, so there's our soup. I'm going to plate it up.
Yay.
Or I guess bowl it up.
Bowl it up. We bowl it up in here.
Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to put a little bit of parsley on. You could pop a little Parmesan cheese, something like that. And there it is. There she is.
Yum.
Delicious. Okay. So last bit, does anyone have any questions about what we made today? I'm going to try our tortellini soup and see how we're doing. Good.
I'm not getting any questions in
And
as of right now.
it actually, the tortellini is not falling apart. It's not overdone. It's not mushy. It's actually pretty good. And what's great about that, especially tortellinis tend to be a little harder, and they need a little longer cooking time. So them in the pressure cooker actually are really, really good. And they're not disintegrating. You have to be careful about pasta in the pressure cooker because if you do it a little bit too long, they will tend to get a little bit mushy. But these are great. So try it at home. Make sure you like and comment and share everything. And send us pictures of what you're doing. We have class tomorrow, the next day, the rest of the week, so check our Instagram. And thank you to Kelly's for allowing us to do this today. And thank you to all of you for watching, and we are so happy that you guys just hung out with us today. And stay safe in your quarantine. And if you need anything from us, give us a call or stop by our store. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Any other questions, Tiffany?
I have not gotten any questions.
Okay.
Hope has said how fun, and she will be back, and thanking Barney
Thanks,
Kelly
Hope.
for inviting her. Thanks, Hope. Karen says, thank you. My chili just beeped. We hope your chili turned out amazing.
Yay!
Yep, everybody's just saying thank you. You
Thank
have
you,
a great
guys.
day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.